Welcome back to Armchair Italy, the show where you discover Italy before you experience it. I'm your host, Anthony Capizzoli, and today we are walking into the heart of Florence from across the river in Oltrarno, after having enjoyed an amazing lunch at Trattoria La Casalinga, where I enjoyed the lardo colonnata and pappardelle with wild boar ragu. Perfectly full after a slow, wonderful Italian lunch. We walk across Ponte Santa Trinita along the Arno and cut through the arches of the Uffizi under the Vasari corridor into the open-air museum of the Loggia dei Lanzi in Piazza della Signoria. In that beautiful square, your eyes are drawn to a stunning white marble statue showing explosive energy. It's Hercules bending a centaur backward in a brutal chokehold. This is Giambologna's 1599 Mannerist masterpiece, Hercules and Nessus. But behind that pristine marble lies a story of subterranean oaths, toxic blood, and a deadly trap sprung from beyond the grave. Our story doesn't begin in Florence or even in the sunlit fields of Greece, but in the depths of Hades. During his 12th labor, Hercules ventured into the underworld where he met the ghost of the hero Meleager. Meleager, moved by his own tragic death, was weeping with worry for his unwed sister, Deianira. Meleager begged Hercules to protect her. Hercules swore a sacred oath to fulfill the ghost's dying wish before departing Hades. When Hercules arrived in Calydon to claim her hand, he found a terrifying rival, Aeolus, the ancient river god who shapeshifted into a roaring bull. Hercules wrestled the god to the ground, snapping off his horn, creating the original cornucopia, or horn of plenty, and won Deianira as his bride. Hercules is one of only a few that went to and departed Hades while living and remained living after the visit. Other famous figures that accomplished this feat are Orpheus, Theseus, Odysseus, and Aeneas. Newly married, Hercules and Deianira set out towards Trachis, only to find their path blocked by the Evenus River, swollen and raging from torrential rains. This is where we meet Nessus. Nessus was a centaur, a wild creature with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a horse. He lived on the riverbanks, acting as a ferryman for travelers. Nessus offered to carry Deianira safely across the river on his back, while Hercules swam alongside. But midway through the crossing, Nessus succumbed to lust and attempted to abduct Deianira into the wilderness. To save his bride from Nessus, Hercules drew his bow and shot Nessus in the chest from across the river. But this was no ordinary arrow. Its tip was coated in the fatal, toxic blood of the Hydra. Where did Hercules get an arrow dipped in Hydra blood, you ask? Let's go back to Hercules' second labor. The Hydra was a terrifying, multi-headed water serpent raised by Hera specifically to destroy Hercules. It haunted the swamps of Lerna, breathing toxic fumes and sprouting 2 new heads every time one was chopped off. Hercules only defeated it with the help of his nephew Aeolus, who used a burning torch to cauterize the severed neck stumps before new heads could grow. After burying the creature's final, immortal head beneath a heavy boulder, Hercules sliced open its corpse and dipped his arrows into its venomous blood, a lethal weapon that would haunt him for the rest of his life. From across the flooded river, Hercules let fly a single Hydra-poisoned arrow, striking Nessus straight through the chest. The wound was instantly agonizing and incurably fatal. As the centaur lay dying, his chest burning with Hydra's venom, he concocted a cunning scheme for revenge. Whispering to a panicked Deianira, Nessus lied, claiming his blood held magical properties. He told her that if she ever feared losing Hercules, soaking his tunic in his blood would act as an infallible love potion. Deianira secretly kept poisoned blood. Years later, fearing Hercules had fallen in love with another woman, she sent him a tunic soaked in the dried, poisoned blood of Nessus. The moment Hercules put it on, his body heat activated the hydrovenom, burning his skin to the bone and driving him to end his own life. The toxic blood of the monster he slew in his youth had brought about his end from beyond the grave. No one actually escapes from Hades. How does this bloody ancient myth end up carved in brilliant white marble in Florence? For that, we have to look at the sculptor Giambologna, known to the Italian world as Giambologna. Around 1550, Giambologna left his native Flanders, traveled to Rome with one goal: to spend a couple of years studying classical ancient statues and the revolutionary works of Michelangelo. After finishing his studies around 1552, he set off on his journey back home to Flanders. On his way north, he made a pit stop in Florence just to rest. That quick rest changed everything. While in Florence, he met Bernardo Vecchietti, a wealthy patron and influential advisor to the ruling Medici family. Vecchietti instantly recognized the young Fleming's genius, took him into his villa, and convinced him to abandon his plans to return to Flanders. Vecchietti introduced him to Grand Duke Francesco I de' Medici, and by 1561, Giambologna was on the Medici payroll as their official court sculptor. In fact, Giambologna became such a valuable artistic asset that Medici rulers literally forbade him from ever leaving Florence permanently. Terrified that other European monarchs in Spain or Austria would lure him away, they showered him with salaries, a private studio, a foundry, and prestigious public commissions to ensure that he stayed there for the rest of his life. The Grand Duke later commissioned Giambologna to carve Hercules and Nessus from a single block of marble. Instead of a static, flat statue, Giambologna sculpted a figura serpentinata, a spiraling form that forces you to walk completely around it to experience its full dynamic power. You can feel the visceral strain in Hercules' back and the agonizing collapse of the centaur. While Renaissance art prioritized balance, harmony, and natural proportion, Mannerism, the late Renaissance movement that followed, deliberately broke those rules to emphasize emotional intensity, drama, and style. This is why the statue shows Hercules wrestling and choking Nessus versus killing him with an arrow from across the river. It's a bit of artistic license to allow the sculptor to create his serpentine form in marble. Next time you stand in Piazza della Signoria, don't just look at the stone. Enjoy the spiraling drama and remember the ancient myth carved into its core. Until next time, grab a schiacciata at Sforno Panificio and enjoy your afternoon.